Okay, now let's, if everybody can hear me, let me share. I have to take my iPhone. I really don't know why my computer is not working. Share screen. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, now let me move. Can you still see it?
Yes, we can see your presentation.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
we can.
Okay, fantastic. Now, really apologize. I don't know. Normally, Zoom works perfect. I have seen these problems with Google, but it's the first time I face these problems with Zoom. Okay, let's go through that. So let's talk about digital transformation. But I think the section for today is not about talk about principles of business, but really go through a life of experience. And yeah, the idea is that we stop. I have put some slides where we stop and we talk a little bit. The idea is really to share experience, not simply to go through 1 hour talk. And then I know that's late for all of you. So let's try to keep that in an engaging and more dynamic way. So, okay. So my name is Miguel Stief. I have been around the globe for quite some time. Just before this, when I was putting these slides together, I saw that, yeah, I have started my journey in 1986. But before that, I have been also trainee for some time. That means, yeah, I have a long time in this market. I have put here 4 positions. Basically, I have been Director of Project Management for Americas in Philips. We will be talking about that. Then Global Market Sector Director for NXP Semiconductors, then Vice President of Lighton, CEO. This means through that journey, I have been experiencing a lot of different business models and also dynamics about digital transformation. So I am an electronic engineer by background and MBA, and now I met Dr. Alex here during my doctor at Geneva Business School. So, you know, the first message here is lifelong learning. So I am, let's say, 50 plus today, and I have been still going on the road and learning and trying to understand and get connected to all the technologies that are coming in. Today, it's very simple. You see through my journey, I have never been into my comfort zone. If you stop learning today, yeah, you are simply getting disconnected from what's going on, and especially if you plan to go through a career linked to technology. I have been in technology since the beginning, and that's tough today, but also open up a lot of opportunity as long as you understand the dynamics of what's going on and how you reinvent or adapt yourself through that journey. So, as I said...
yes, Miguel, I think you forgot to say about our weekly meetings, and then you can pass through the presentation agenda further, but please mention about our, weekly meetings.
Okay. I have been working with Dr. Alex here. She was my coordinator at Geneva Business School. And since then, now we are really engaging into a project together where we have weekly meetings. We are designing different, let's say, in some point in time, I can mention that, but we are really trying to bring up to market a mixture of academics and practical life. We are developing not only some articles together, some Dr. Alex is writing books, but also we have been discussing about how I transform or we transform my thesis into a practical tool. And practical means a commercial framework, a commercial using AI. So we can talk that through my presentation, I can mention that. But yeah, we have been really engaging and discussing weekly on how we get the learning lessons from academics into really practical solutions in the real world. So I don't know, Alex, if you have anything to add, but I think that's what we have been doing, right?
Yes, and we have a lot of positive discussion and constructive discussion, and even we disagree, or I disagree with a lot of terms, and and I mean, it's interesting to have different perspective, different business ideas, criticized in a positive, in a constructive manner. So yeah, let's move to the next slide, please.
Okay, thank
And
you.
let's start. Are you going to start with Positivo?
No, let me go through the presentation. First of all, let me talk 2 minutes about
Sure.
some things on digital transformation, because I think for all of you should be quite interesting. I think one slide that I like is this one, because I think for you have born in the when computers, connectivity, everything was already there. But let's think for 2 minutes on what's driving that all the changes that we see in the market today. So there are, in my view, there are 3 key things that we have to think. What are the foundations for digital transformation? And number 1 is processing power. Everything that you talk about artificial intelligence or whatever today, it's about processing power. And you have to think that processing power today of your iPhone is something that's more powerful than maybe one-room computer when I started my journey, my career. So one of the things that you see in the left chart is how processing power has been growing over the years, and this is amazing. But processing power is nothing without storage. So you see, hey, why we have this cloud? Why we have all these data centers? And the next key element here is you only have your nice lives on AI today because the cost of storing information has been going down year over year. If this would be very expensive today, we will not be on this meeting talking about AI and all these things. And the third element that is really key is connectivity. Today, you can get any information anywhere because connectivity is moving very fast. We are now 5G, 6G is coming. So that's the 3 elements that are driving the digital transformation. If these 3 things were not here, we would not be having the discussion about how we can shape the business for future. There are 2 other key elements, and now when we talk about business, okay, there is a book I can share after this meeting, some links that I have. There is a very nice video on YouTube from Dr. Jennifer Ross, that's from MIT, where she talks about what are the two key elements on the digital transformation. So you have to separate from what we call digitized. That means when we all, during the pandemic, had to connect remotely, this is the so-called digitized. You are bringing tools and elements on how you get more efficient, more connected. And this is directly related to operational excellence. But if you look to the chart, this is the linear curve on how you drive performance, how you drive growth. The other side is what they call digital. That means this is about business innovation and disruption. And this is where we talk about exponential growth that's driven today by Web3, blockchain, customer-centric network effects, all these things that I will be talking through this presentation. But one interesting element that I'd like to share with you, if you look to those three curves here, this is where we have been talking from Web 1.0. That was really when the web started, and basically is where you can simply ask web for information. There was no interaction. Then you have Web 2.0, where you start to interacting with that. But not only that, for now that everybody talks about AI, you have to think about this is where the digital media, the digital networks started. That means this is where AI was already there, but was what I call the silent AI. Because although AI was doing everything on the background, we were not interacting with AI directly. And then there is the third wave where we are today. And the third wave is about, now is the ChatGPT, Grok 3, and now DeepSeek and everything that you have seen. And this is really what we transform AI into what we call general purpose technology, because then becomes a game changer in how you develop, how you interact, how you improve your business. So I think these are the three phases we have been going through. And I think this chart I can share, or if Alex has shared already the presentation. Yeah, this is, I see, and if you look to my journey, I have, by coincidence, I was graduated in engineering in 1986. That means I have been growing through the three curves, and we can have interesting interactions talking about that evolution. So, talking about my journey, I have started in Philips in 1986. And that's where, when we talk about life, okay, and I think the discussion today is not only about technology or business lessons, but I'd like to share few things about in your journey, in your personal journey, that you have to go step by step, moving through different phases. And you see here, for 1986 to 2000, I was basically, that was my school, meaning I started in Philips, and this was all about operations, manufacturing. And when we talk about operations, manufacturing, talk about cost control, talk about efficiency, talk about today they talk about Industry 5.0 and all these things. But the bottom line of this is cost control. How you move from being someone generating revenue to be at the cost side of your P&L. Here is everything about cost. when we talk about operations in manufacturing, people are going to ask you how you can make that more efficient, how you can get that with lower cost. And that was the first years of my journey. The second one was I was born in Philips. Then, still in Philips, I moved to be the director of project management for Americas. And I was seated in Ann Arbor in US. And this was all about project management and business strategy. Why? At that time, Philips was in display, and they took a decision that they were forced by the market to reorganize the industrial setup in Americas. So at that time, I will come back to that later, but we had 10 factories. We had to go down to 8, building a manufacturing center. This is all about scaling. Why? Because we have to bring costs down and efficiency up. Then, after Philips, I moved to Germany, working for NXP Semiconductors. Was a completely different life, because I don't know if you all know, NXP is a spin-off of Philips. So Philips sold the semiconductor division to NXP. And then when NXP was formed, I was invited to go to Germany. And to be honest, at that time, I have never, ever in my life worked with semiconductors. But they were looking for someone with out-of-the-box view, with project management experience, to drive their first key project at NXP in a, let's say, different way. Because when NXP bought Philips and Semiconductors, the point was very simple. Why they bought? Because Philips Semiconductor was not efficient. They should do that faster. They should do that in a different way. So that's when I joined NXP in Germany. And this is all about my second learning lesson here, or my third. I forgot to mention about the USA. That was about project management and business strategy. But the third one is all about R&D, precision, how you develop innovation. Then I made a big turn. I went to China. And in China, I was, let's say, involved in all these dynamics of the Chinese market, meaning the mobile revolution. I can share with you, but I was exactly at the time when Nokia was a market leader, and suddenly Nokia was dying because Steve Jobs came with Apple. I was exactly facing that transformation. Then after China, I moved back from South America, and then we will talk about family work balance. Because at that time, my family said, hey, Miguel, you know, I have been following through US, Germany. Now we have been in China. And the time is, we have been too long in China. Let's go back to the, let's say, Western part of the world. And I was hired as a CEO of Positivo BGH. Positivo, I will talk a little bit about that later, but Positivo is a market leader in Brazil and BGH in Argentina, and I will come back to that later. And finally, today, I have my consulting company with the headquarters in Portugal. And I am also going to get back to that over the coming slides. So if you look to my career, it's a journey of transformation. To be honest, when I look to you guys here, I would say, yeah, today is more than ever. If if you look to my journey and you're saying, hey, I have been going through different types of business. First of all, I have never, ever been in my comfort zone. And this is something that for you is something that you have to take as given. It's very difficult because the technology is moving so fast today. If you don't get yourself ready to be adapted and to move together with the technology, yeah, it's going to be, you can take different journeys, different personal decisions, but I have been involved in innovation and technology. And maybe the key message of the experience I'm sharing to you today is this is the life of someone involved in technology. Otherwise, you have to go through other paths on your personal lives. But technology is nice. I love the challenge. That's why I would not be here. But it's a place where you have been always to reinvent yourself, because I think that's where we are, and now with all the network, all the social media, you have to think more than ever, because you are simply eaten by that transformation in a day-by-day basis. So now I will talk 5 minutes about my experience between Brazil and then I'd like to, let's say, start with some exercise where we share some views to get a little bit of engagement, because this is where I think we are here today. We should be engaging. So, as I said, Brazil was all about manufacturing operations. The culture, Brazil is community-driven. Brazil is all about getting together, building teamwork. But at the beginning of my career, yeah, in a balanced work family, work took first priority. And I learned with Philips, and this is about manufacturing operations, about discipline, about cost. And this is mainly about you take your daily cost control and go and walk into your manufacturing and try to optimize your costs in a day-by-day basis. When I went to US, was a different journey. So this was about large-scale projects, how you design a regional strategy, how you make a plan to adapt your manufacturing footprint into something that fits into bring costs down, bring efficient up, and make the lower costs. And that's, again, the key word. Cost control here is the core. So here is in the phase of my life where I went through strong operational foundations and discipline. So let's go to the next. Now I'd like to start engaging a little bit with you. Otherwise, this section will get too boring for all of us. And I know that's 7 in the evening for you. So let me put a scenario here. And that's what I was faced when I was in US. I was invited to go to US, to Ann Arbor. And at that time, Philips had 10 factories in the region. So why we had that? I was invited to go to US because we say, hey, let's consolidate the manufacturing. Let's build a manufacturing campus in Mexico. and let's optimize our costs, because Philips was a market leader in display. So we were seated in the nice chair of being a market leader. So, and at that time, Philips, that the project I went to manage in Mexico, we were talking about $500 million investment. So basically, my task was from 10 factories, bring down to 2, 3, and let's build this very nice manufacturing center. But what happened in the middle of the journey is that, technology shift. You see that from Blockbuster, from many of the examples I think you should be studying. In my times, the discussion was about the very nice flat TV that I'm showing here into flat panels. So the market, this is a dramatic change in the market. In the same way that happens with Blockbuster or Kodak, we were facing a challenge where, hey, we are in the middle of building a major manufacturing center of $500 million, and the technology has changed. So the point was, this was first, putting all our investment at risk. Second, what should we do as Philips? So I like to drop a question for you. I know the answer, but what you would do in such scenario?
Maybe I can try to answer. Nice to meet you also. Thank you very much for being here. That's very appreciated. Your time is very appreciated, and I'm very interested in listening all the things that you're going to say with us tonight. So I'm very happy to be here today. First of all, I mean, what I think it's not always simple. I mean, it's not simple to prevent those type of things. And I think what would be key in this case, since let's say Philips was already, I expect, a leader in the market, and I expect that Philips itself had some R&D department that was already, let's say, starting to anticipate those type of new technologies. So to mitigate the risk, to answer that question, could be that already have some plans on analyzing the trend of what would be the next thing in that sense. So investing in the research and the development, I think it would be the very first tool that a company could have if it's big enough, usually, because also it's not easier, because if you're small, it's easier to convert yourself. If you're big, you need to be prepared, and you can invest more in this case. So I don't know if this makes sense, but this is my idea on this.
No, that makes for sure a lot of sense. I don't know if anybody else has something to say. Otherwise, I can comment on what happened, because this is, by the way, this Philips case is one of the cases today in Harvard Business School that they have analyzed the transformation of Philips. And but I don't know if anybody else has anything to say here. Okay, if not, let me tell you what happened. What happens when you talk technology, and you are very right. You expect your R&D guys to have the crystal ball to know in which direction. At the end of the day, you are paying these guys for that, right? And but at that time, what happened that was very interesting. Even Sony at that time, they were making a lot of investments on the platform of what became later the brand Vaio. Sony was also moving towards big TVs, big displays. but still keeping the technology of CRT, that means the big tubes. So that was, and that's what I talk about disruption. And you see a lot in my presentation here that, this is where you make the 1 billion, let's put that, dollar question, because you hire a lot of clever people to know that disruption is coming. But that's very difficult today. So one of the things, and let me go to the final answer here. What happened with Philips was, and as I said, Philips was my school. I really learned, and I spent quite some time with Philips. But Philips was always very clever on analyzing the trends and doing the right moves. What Philips did here, they have assumed that they have taken the wrong strategic decision. So what they did is, although we had $500 million in a manufacturing center in the middle of Mexico, what Philips said, hey, ups, but what are our strengths? And one of the things that I mentioned that was really the one of the strengths, Philips was already the number one in the globe in terms of TV sales. That means they say, hey, okay, I have two choices. Or I find someone with the technology that is the future technology to partner with, or I am going to have a tough fight because, I have to convince everybody that my technology is better. So, and that's exactly Kodak, Blockbuster. Philips was clever in that time, to be honest with you. What happened was, Philips said, okay, as I'm still the number one, let me go through the company in the globe who has the best technology in flat panels. And what they did is they proposed a joint venture with LG. And they said, hey, LG, you have the best technology, but I am the number one in distribution and market positioning. So let's join forces. So in the middle of the project, and I was leading that project, they formed a joint venture. And they said, okay, let's use your technology, LG, with our number one position in TVs. But there was another step, because they also agreed that after LG Philips was formed, that step by step, LG would take over. If you go today, Philips has no TV in the market. So they sold the TV business to LG. And LG took the benefit of, let's say, getting into the markets. They took all the distribution and the Philips power in the global market. But at the end of the day, Philips phased out from TVs. And now, why I was mentioning to you that Philips is a case today, with this experience, what happened with Philips is Philips took a decision to reevaluate their entire business. And making a long story short, go to the web and search a little bit about Philips. Philips left all the segments. At that time, Philips was in the display, was in the domestic appliance, was everywhere. And this drove Philips to take a very bold decision. They said, hey, let's look into our future, what we can do well. And what happened with Philips today, they are a case because they became one of the top companies today in the global medical systems. So I can share the paper from Harvard to you guys afterward. But that's a very interesting thing. Is how you say you give up because, as you said, my R&D guys didn't have the crystal ball, but I'm clever enough to keep the business going. Let's see where our DNA can drive success. And if their DNA, they were not good enough to predict the change, let's reinvent ourselves. And that's what happened with Philips. So move on. Then I went to NXP Semiconductors. As I said, NXP Semiconductors was a spin-off of Philips. Exactly. Look to the journey. Then Philips said, hey, I have to start selling the things where I don't have competitive advantage. And then they sold the semiconductors to NXP. And then due to my connections in Philips and my track record in Philips, I was invited to join NXP. And NXP semiconductor business is all about innovation, is all about discipline for you to design and go to market with a chipset first time right. Today you see the competition with Intel, with Qualcomm, with NVIDIA, all these things that you have in. But there is a key equation on semiconductors is you have to be the first to design the combination of the right blocks that you need for a chipset. That means, okay, what's the latest version of connectivity? What's the latest version of graphics? What's the latest combination? That's the race on IC making today. But there is a very core thing about NXP here. That is, once you have taken the decision to move into a new chipset, you have to be absolutely sure that you meet the design windows of your customers. Your customers have a period of time every year where they take your chipset to define the new products that you are going to market in the next year. If you lose this design-in window, you are out for 1 year and then you are dead. And that means semiconductor industry is all about discipline, is all about vision, is all about very, very controlled project management. And that was my second lesson here. I moved from operations into something that's innovation driven. And once you take your bets on the direction to move, you have to do that bulletproof. You have to do that very precisely. And there is a word in semiconductor industry that is first time right. That means once you go to manufacture your final wafers, that is really where your money is spent. You have to secure your first time right. So in the same way I did with Philips, I'd like to drop my second challenge here. So I was hired to be in NXP in a business, to be honest, I had no clue about. I at that time, I was only a very experienced project manager. So NXP acquired Philips, and I was invited to run one of their first major projects to be launched in the market. Okay, so and why is that? Because they said, hey, let's take someone that can look into things out of the box. And then I moved to Germany to work in the competence center for developing new ICs in Germany. And my very first job was to run the flagship program, because I left US as I was already, although I mentioned I was director, but when I left US, I was already vice president. But due to my track record on project management, they said, hey, Miguel, come and let's run the first major product. The point is, can you imagine that I was moving my family to Germany? I was going and applying for visas, but I was already working there. And suddenly, what happened was, in my very first meeting to review the Purus project, that was this project that I'm talking about, the team, the commercial team, came back reporting that we can meet the schedule. We cannot meet the schedule of our main customers. That means, remember I mentioned a few minutes ago, if you lose the design win window of your customers, you shift your sales 1 year behind. Then why you continue with a project? You have to start again and start thinking 2 years ahead. So in my first meeting, I faced a situation where I was sitting in Germany, and most probably I had no job, because management came and said you have no project anymore because you are not meeting the design window of your customer. My question again to you is how you reacted to that?
So that's very a difficult question, because but I think in this case, with all that experience, even if it's not an easy let's say moment at that moment, I think with all of that experience, you can, let's say, find something that you don't know that you have. Because in that sense, you can leverage all the experience. I mean, that's not easy. Being in a new country with in a new job without any new project, what I would try to do is to, let's say, collect all the information that are present at this point, and understand what would be, let's say, the very first aim of the project at the very beginning, and trying to leverage what was the market condition, and what was, let's say, what the customer would need at that point, and try to merge and take the elements that were, let's say, already maybe done or already good but when addressed, and then set up a specific task force, a specific team to leverage what was already in place, and with a good project management approach, understand what was feasible and for when. And propose that to the top management, and understand what will be, let's say, the next steps of this eventual new project eventually. I don't know also if this is clear, or if it makes sense too.
No. Makes okay, Daniel. Let's keep talking, because that's very interesting. You brought really the key elements out of that, because you know, everybody, if you go to your lectures that you are having in your university today, everybody talks about customer centric. But the very first thing you mentioned was the really true is, let's go to our customers, okay? But then let me give you a hint for your future. That is, I was born as an electronic engineer, and to be honest, never ask an engineer to be commercial guys. What NXP did wrong at that time was that they, as I said, they had a very strict product development process. And in the first stage of this product development process, they have what they call customer design specifications. That means they put your marketing on the field, and these guys go and say, hey, this is what customers are looking for. Okay? So, but these are the marketing guys. But the customer wishes have to be translated what we call into design specifications. And that's where it's dangerous, because when you get engineers to translate what customer wants, engineers are always going through the best in class. I want this, I want that, and they take the opportunity to embed into the design things that they believe are the best for the customers. But the customers are not ready to pay for that. Okay, so take that for your life. Always separate, go to your customer with someone, a team that is not technical. At that end, what happened at that time was I said, hey, let's do something different. Let's go back to the customer and let's review the customer design specifications. And then I start asking very clear questions saying, okay, these are your wishes, but what are you ready to pay for to meet your designing window? And then what happened is you cut a lot of lines, because wishes, we all have wishes, but are you ready to pay for that? So they started cutting a lot of lines on this process. So that was the first. So we took a long page of design specs coming from the design team, and we brought that down into what really customers were willing to pay. The next phase was, okay, now we have to still the challenge to go into a process that is very strict on NXP at that time. And you find that in a lot of big corporations that they have. Today we talk about agile, we talk about all these things, but there are a lot of speeches that are very nice in practice, but in real world are not that straight. And I will explain you later when we talk about China why. But what happened is, the second thing is we said, okay, now that we have streamlined the specs, how we can make it faster. And the second question was, you only can do that faster by a collaborative network. If I was relying on all the engineers seated in Germany, it is going to take a long time. And then we said, okay, but look, we are in the chipset making. Let's not look into only what we can do here, but where we can hire resources to make it faster and have the development run 24 hours. So we made partnerships with company in India. We made for example, MediaTek, that today is a big player. At that time, MediaTek was starting. And we partnered with MediaTek. We partnered with companies in China. So at the end of the day, we were running around the clock 20/4. That means when the day was ending in Germany, we were sending the design to India. We were later on sending the design to China. So we managed to make the products much faster. And at the end of the day, if you go also, all the things that I'm telling you, Purus was an internal NXP project name. But if I give you I can send later the name of this chipset, and you see that, they hit the market at the right time. So, and this is, again, is always looking into your value chain. start challenging what are the steps that you have through that. And this is that's why I say people talk a lot about agile, doing this, doing that, very nice wording, but there are some key elements on when you are breaking through. DevOps, for example, was based on this type of mindset. But this is things that are coming now with new names. But you see, here I was talking about 2009, and there was already these things coming over. Okay, so that's another experience. Let me go through the next one. China. Can you imagine that I was seated in competence center in Germany, and I was invited to go to China? Man, this is not only my family was in panic. My family said, "You are going to, hey, you are bringing us to a communist country. Hey, we have been following you, but China, no." But then I moved to China, and to be honest, today I have a company in China. I have a very good network in China. I really enjoyed the experience in China. And then comes my next lesson here to you is always, when you go to a new country, try to understand the culture and values, because that's what makes the completely different. If you leave German, what's the culture value in German? For Germans are, hey, they are very precise. They want to have a very good combination between work and life quality. But then you go to China. China was very, very competitive. It's time to market. It's flexibility. We can work throughout the clock to make something happening. But as long as we get also and that's another very interesting thing about the flexibility on compensation. In NXP, in Philips, I came from a school from global companies where, hey, this is your salaries, this is what you can make. In China, man, it's a complete different discussion. I was sitting with teams and say, guys, let's see what we can make in terms of flexibility to make this project happen. If this project happens, you can take 10 salaries, 20 salaries, whatever. But this is the difference between cultures on old multinationals and companies. And I normally say I had a very interesting, by coincidence, you can ask why and how I got into China. I was invited to go to a Taiwanese group by one of my early bosses in Philips. He was one of the chairmen in Light-On Mobile. So, but that's where you see that you start looking into not only business but also about culture. If you can work your entire life in a Western company that have office in China and they say, I understand China, forget it. Any Western company that lands in China is seen as a Western company. I had the pleasure, by lucky, to be in an Asian group working in China. And the discussion...
Miguel, sorry to interrupt you. 20 minutes more, please, if you can focus, please.
Yeah, I will go through that. I will not go over. So let's go through the next case. And then there is only one more slide, Alex. The next case is about, I went to China to run the mobile phone business when a Chinese group bought a European group. So Light-On bought Perlus. And why they bought that? They bought that in a deal because Nokia at that time was the number one player in the globe. So Nokia said, okay, Lighton, if you buy Perlus, that this was a European company, I give you 1/3 of my business. I'm buying 30% of all mobile parts from you. And this was a business worth $600 million a year. So when I moved to China, I was involved on bringing European Perlus into China. But not only that, but I was running the sales and developing new products for Nokia. What happened at that time, and I will go very fast now, if you go and again do some research, exactly during that time, Elop, that I mentioned here, that was a former Microsoft executive, he became the CEO of Nokia. And what was very interesting, after a few weeks, he was the CEO of Nokia. He said, hey, Nokia, everything you are doing in terms of operating system is not good. Let's put Microsoft into your mobile phones. And to be honest, after he did this announcement, the Nokia started going down dramatically. First, because the market was, everybody in the globe had a Nokia. Nokia has been promoting an operating system called Symbian, and suddenly come a new guy and said, let's put Microsoft inside. So the company went down through the drain. And I saw my revenues, and again, the reason why I was in China, going down to the drain because Nokia, and I was at that time, one customer company making $600 million with Nokia. So the point is, okay, how you reinvent yourself? That's the key question here.
Hi.
Please, Lord.
I think first of all, you can make a risk assessment about the situation, how this customer impact in my business, and after that, you can imagine new partnership or to shift with new partner also, or to shift in another type of innovation. For example, if the main streams is this customer, how I can manage to deliver to other customer.
Exactly.
And after that, it's important also to keep a clear communication with all the stakeholders inside the project.
Yeah. I think, Loris, this is perfect assessment, because at that time, what happened was that the good thing was Nokia was recognized as a high quality customer. So when Nokia started going down and we were supplying Nokia, the first thing, everybody started coming to us and say, hey, if you have been supplying to Nokia, you can supply to us. So the first coming was Apple, for example. We closed the deal with Apple. We closed the deal with Samsung. But then the very interesting I'd like to mention here is it started coming the Chinese, the Chinese small. Today they are big, like Oppo, like ZTE. They are big today, but that time they were small. But then you get into a very different type of business. And now a very core message. When you deal with big multinationals around the globe, when they develop a product, they cannot afford running into agile method of trial and learning because they have 10 factories around the globe. Once they ramp up the factories, they cannot afford that one factory has a problem, the other factory has a problem. So the big multinationals, normally, they take, let's say, 52 weeks at that time to develop a mobile phone, because they have to go through a formal process, because they have to ramp up many factories around the globe. The Chinese, no. The Chinese had their operation in China and only one big factory. So suddenly, what we did as an answer to that challenge was we were forced to develop a business model for high volume, low mix customers that were Apple, Samsung, to low volume, high mix customers. That means, to be honest with you, we develop what we call program-driven organizations. And today you talk about agile organization, but the point is, when you talk about the structure, you have to have research pools, you have to have program managers, because what you do is, for every customer, you may need a completely different dynamics on developing your products. Once you have to follow a long path of product development and others, so you cannot do with a hierarchical organization. You have to split yourself, and that's where comes, I can later send you more information, but it's about agile, but agile sometimes don't answer a question. Agile sometimes is very easy for small companies that are developing something that you develop, you listen to your customer, but you have a product that's running one factory. But think about one product that you have to run in 10 factories around the globe. And if this product is not mature enough, you have a lot of performance problems, because you have to drive volumes. You have quality problems. You have so this is the trade that you have to combine. In China, we had to be very flexible to develop organization for the Chinese, is still respecting the organization for the high volume. So put in your head, always think on low volume, high mix, high volume, low mix. Today in the industry 5.0, people talk about the combination of both. And that's why from the people have been talking about automatization and how to drive standards in high volume. And you see today in industry 5.0 talking about human machine combination. You cannot do high mix, low volumes without a human machine combination with AI. So that's another thing that I like to bring here. So then we have to speed up. We have 15 minutes, and I still want to get some feedback from you. The last one was Argentina. Argentina is a completely different environment. I left this environment in China. I went to Argentina, and basically was a joint venture between two market leaders. Positivo, that was a market leader, it is still today, is a huge company in Brazil, together with a huge company in Argentina. And they say, hey, we have to go internationally. And they hired me to be the CEO, because they said, you know, you have some background moving around the globe. So that's when I joined. But to be honest with you, the core business here was about selling laptops to retail. Those two companies were market leaders in retail. So, and to be honest, if you look to my previous lives, I didn't understand anything about retailers. And to be honest, I don't buy the idea of selling commodities, because commodity is based on volumes. You have low margins, and you cannot make money out of that. So when I joined Positivo BGH, I had a lot of meetings in the board. It was my first time I was reporting directly to the board. It was a 50% company. Was the very first time in my life was someone came to me and said, you know, for the very first time, you don't have a boss. Because if you are a CEO in a 50% company, you have to find always the combination of interests. And that was very challenging. So if you ask me, the first thing in Argentina was about governance. The very first time I met a huge challenge on how to bring the interests of both companies together. Once I see one of the shareholders came to me and said, you know, Miguel, your task when we have a board meeting is to secure that we have no conflicts. And that was very interesting because I was at the time going exactly to the board asking for advices. And that's not why a board is there. So it's about governance. But again, following my previous life, the challenge and the last challenge I like to bring to you was I went to a company that was, the joint venture was number one. We were number one in retail in Argentina. Okay, very solid. We had 27% market share at that time. Okay, the next thing that was, we had a huge project with the local government. That means we were delivering all the laptops for every single school in Argentina in a time of digital school was one of the things that everybody was talking, how to bring technology into school. But then what happened was, if you look to those two things I just told you, you are depending on local market and government. And then there was the government change. There was a new president that came with new rules. There was a huge devaluation between the peso to dollar. That means everything got very expensive. And the purchasing power of your customers eroded from the day to the night. So how you manage that?
I would say that that's not easy, as all the questions that that you kindly present us today. But since, as far as understood, the main revenue streams were, let's say, local in that sense. So for that specific country, maybe it's oversimplifying, but what I would try to discover is, even if I'm very strong in the country where I'm working at, I would try to understand what are the similar markets that could, with the same type of asset, same type of product that I'm delivering, would be, let's say, interested in our type of products. So exploring those markets and try to let the company get known on that market. And since I have a product that it's already there, maybe I already produced that because maybe I have thousands and hundreds of thousands of computers that I need to sell to someone, and the business is reshaping. So I would discover other markets with the same product.
Yeah,
that's it.
So let me then, of course, with my DNA, let's put it that way. If you look back to all that journey, the very first thing, and is as you mentioned, is how I can expand my sales out of Argentina. That was the very first thing. But that was not that easy at the beginning because we had even to open companies abroad because there were rules from the new government saying that we could not send dollars out of Argentina, all these things. Okay. But what we did was a major shift on number one, going international. Yeah. Number two, and that's what I'd like to bring you as my last learning lesson here is always think how you can move from selling a product to selling solutions. Okay, so at that time, what I start analyzing was what were the key strengths of the two groups. And then if you look down and you can web that, you see that Positivo has two divisions. One division that is hardware and computer, but there is another division that they have that is education. The group was born developing, primary, secondary, and university schools here in Brazil. And then I said, hey, oops, there is an opportunity. If we are selling laptops to the Argentinian governments, why I cannot go abroad instead of selling laptops and selling digital learning environments? And then
Miguel?
Uruguay, we went to several places. Yeah, go
Miguel,
ahead.
no, I just, because we still have like 5 minutes, I would like if you can take some questions. Maybe the students, they have some questions that they would like to ask, and then you can answer so we can fit in the time. What do you think?
Yeah. Okay, good. So only to conclude then, what we did was we translated into commodity to solution. We went to Africa. We developed many countries in Africa selling digital solutions. To be honest, after 2 years, we were selling something like $200 million in Africa alone. So that's it. I will not spend time here because today what I'm doing is using all this journey and to do consulting in different areas. But following to keep the time and following what Alex just said, I think, few learning lessons. Digital transformation is about people, culture, business, not only technology. Technology is the easy part today. How you bring the other things together is what matters. Agility and continuous innovation, you have to think out of the box more than ever. Transformation is ongoing. Whatever you do today is obsolete tomorrow, is what we saw in TVs. And that's your challenge as the new generation. You have to bridge strategy with technology and manage that. So I leave here for questions as to keep the time. Let's say if you have questions over the next 5 minutes, and let's go through that.
If I can go first, I have a brief question, kind of linked to the very last experience that you shared, and what I wanted to ask, since we are all aware that AI is disrupting the technology side of also those summary key takeaways. What I was trying to understand and maybe ask you, and what do you think about the today, the access to the AI today is something that is not shared to, let's say, equally to all the countries in the world. And since richest nations and richest people could access to those, let's say, that intelligence, I would say that called AI as an intelligence, is something that will, let's say, fill the gaps between less poor countries with the richest country, or will let's say make this gap higher. I don't know if the question is clear.
Very interesting question, Daniel, because this is my day-to-day today. Is I always talk about how I know Alex don't like the term I use, but I say I have many projects today on how we close the digital gap. Let's put it that way. Okay, you have developing nations and you have developed nations. And AI now is again creating a gap, let's say. What I have seen happening in the market, you see what happened a few weeks ago with DeepSeek. DeepSeek in China, although for the very first time you have AI, large models in AI that have been, they are trying to come with the speech of democratizing the AI, right? You have open platform, you have decentralized architecture. All these things are very good. While you have ChatGPT, Grok 3, and you see a move from US now, more than ever, building data centers in US to control the information of the globe. Let's put it that way. Today, one of the things I have been involved in studying is what I call edge AI, because for developing countries, what we have to do is to bring those large models that for developing nations to get to the stage that developed nations are today, like ChatGPT, is going to take a long time. But at the same time, you have to allow your entrepreneurs in Africa or in Brazil to be, let's say, to develop solutions that are not tied to these global platforms. And I think what DeepSeek did is a first step. But I have been in contact with several companies, and this is one of the things I have been working with Alex, is exactly to develop a model for developing countries, because that's my target market today. So I have been, and I will tell you, I have been looking a lot into edge AI architecture. Because then what you do is when you need the large models, you go and you access ChatGPTs and those people. But most of your local development, because there is a lot of opportunities for local solutions. In Brazil, in agriculture, in Africa, there are many things that you can do creating a local products for the local markets. Look to Kenya. Kenya was the first on developing mobile money in Africa with M-Pesa. And they, even before Brazil, the country I live today, have thought about mobile money. Kenya had already 25 million people running on that. But you have to give them the infrastructure for them to be entrepreneur without being, sorry, maybe it's too strong, the word I'm going to use, slaves of those big corporations. That's basically what it is, in my view.
Thank you very much. I didn't know that was so on point. So I'm very happy to hear that also people like you are working on this, because I think that's crucial and in all the sense. I mean, business way for sure, but also on a more ethical perspective. That's absolutely key. And thank you for working on this, because that's needed. That's needed as far as I can see. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I don't know any other question. I think we lost Alex here in our.
I would like to ask a question more about your career shift from manager roles to consultant role. When you think to shift from consultant to consultant, and how you did it?
That's a very nice and very tough question, Loris, because to be honest, I have been always, during all my years, I have been always hating consultants, because I say, sometimes you call people to come, they give you all types of devices, but they have no responsibility in the bottom line. Now I'm designing a different model. I'm designing a model where I call a consulting hub, but where you have end-to-end responsibility. That means you not only go to companies and say what you do, you bring a collaborative environment of companies, you implement that, and then you hand over. And to be honest, I have hard time to call myself consultant. To be very honest, your question was very good, because sometimes I see everywhere consulting is like you go there and you give an advice and you walk out. And to be honest, you have seen through my life, I'm not this type of guy. I think there is a lot of opportunity, and now I'm going to give you what I really believe. You have the big corporations, you have startups. There is a lot of opportunity from what I'm trying to bring to market today is to have mid-market companies to go to digital transformation. Because mid-market companies normally are guys that have been very successful in the markets, because mid-market, you have some mid-markets making $400, $500 million or even more. But the founders, they are trapped today in a situation where technology is moving too fast that they don't know how to react. And that's where I see that I can fit. So today, I am really developing a model to help mid-market companies. Mid-market, and look again, if you look to the Trump case in US, you saw that very nice picture with Facebook, Elon Musk, all these guys trying to control the world. The very single point is we have to help these mid-market companies to get together in a collaborative environment to get bigger. And that's what I see that is an opportunity. But this shift, and back to your question, from CEO, from entrepreneur into consulting, what I want to do today, I want to redefine consulting. There are two companies being very successful today, one in Czech Republic, and I found another one in Europe that was founded by two ex-McKinsey guys, that they are already exactly working on that, is to use AI tools to help mid-market companies to optimize their processes, to understand the dynamics of the market. I don't know if I answered the question, but that's, I don't want, if you go to my screen, you see that there is a company in Portugal. I have a partner with the biggest technology group in Portugal, but I want to drive a different business model in consulting. It's not only to go there and look to processes, but to bring AI in a very, very practical way, how we can help these guys that are not connected with the latest technology with operational. Remember my second or third slide is operational efficiency, and then how you become digital.
And I have another question related to this. Do you think that in the future, decentralization of data and Web3, for example, will play a crucial role to enhance and to help medium-sized enterprise?
For sure. I really believe on the concept of decentralization. I really believe on blockchain. Because, for example, look into a very practical perspective. Today, a lot of money don't flow from developing countries to underdeveloping startups only because people don't believe that the money will get into the right places. When you go blockchain, you develop this entire chain of trust. And then I really have the dream that one day all this crowdfunding in developed countries will channel money into startups in developing countries, but you have to have a bulletproof security way that you have these digital contracts and not money going around and people ending up in Bali having a nice life. I see that every day. So I really believe on decentralization. I really believe on Web3. And then there is a completely different market. You know Web3 with the tokens, with cryptocurrency, all these things is open a completely different level of opportunity for people seated in developed, underdeveloped countries to go into, let's say, these markets. And by the way, one of the things I have been working a lot today is on reskilling and upskilling of entrepreneurs in developing countries. Today, one of the things I have been spending a lot of time is on projects to develop digital labs to give digital skills to developing entrepreneurs. And to bring these guys as the future workforce. Look to what's happening today with AI. Some reports say that there will be 80 million people that will end up without jobs in the first few years. But there is another 93 million new jobs being created. The point is, you have to train, you have to reskill all these people. And to be honest, that's another thing I have been spending my time today.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you, Miguel. I would like to really thank you on behalf of all of us. The session was really captivating and enlightening, and it's really delightful to have such a session.
And to be very honest with you, I have been mentoring a lot of young entrepreneurs here in Brazil. It's my pleasure. To be honest with you, I will leave with my LinkedIn here, my contacts. Be free to come to me because I also believe on you guys. I think what we need today is people with the global mindset, people who are getting prepared for what's coming. And there is a huge, huge opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And sorry,
Thank you very much.
I know that we are in the end, but I just want to say thank you, Miguel. Nice to meet you. I'm very sorry I just participated really late to the meeting today. And yeah, it was very, very interesting. Actually, I'm in a place right now where I'm working in this organization that is just starting. It's an agriculture company, and we're facing all of this right now, facing problems with the market, the prices. We have like a innovative idea to processes and create the things that we actually produce. But yeah, there is a huge need for a digital transformations in a lot of ways, and yeah, and we are facing like this moment, no, to adapt and start to create. Actually, and also about the cryptocurrency, the blockchain. Also, I share all of the things that you say. I'm passionate. I really love it, and the concept that is behind the blockchain and the decentralization of things, information, money, is a huge power. I think also with the AI integrating in the blockchain and also decentralize maybe the way that we I don't know how to say training or produce the information that actually AI gives to us. I don't know if this is make any sense, but I think it's also very important. And yeah, I really enjoy this lesson. And thank you very much. I just want to give my feedback, actually, really.
Andrea, as I said, I have been today. One of the projects I worked was exactly in agriculture with drones. So if you want offline, I can we can talk anytime, and I can share experience. because here in Brazil, I was one of I was requested because I'm a Brazilian by I was born here, and Brazil is a power in agriculture. And some time ago, I was asked for some local organizations to look into how we can automatize that. And I was involved in bringing drones and how we do efficient agriculture. But Brazil today is becoming a reference on that. And if you need any time to connect with people who really are in the same field, I would be happy to do that. And I offer that to all of you. Let's get connected to LinkedIn. You know me now. I would love to connect. You can see that through my journey. I know a lot of people around the globe. So anything you need, I will always be happy to connect or to bring someone that can add value to what you guys are doing.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I just
Thanks.
set the connection.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Miguel, and thank you all of you.
I will share my contacts, and you are welcome to reach me anytime.
Please, thank you. Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye bye. Ciao a tutti.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.